All right, welcome back to Live Impact News here in that Live Impact News studio. We're actually going to head out to Ashburn, Virginia now, where Washington Commanders have entered into day 2 of training camp here on July 30th. Shane Fordham has been there for both days, and he joins us now on Live Impact News. Day 2, Shane. Now we're officially, those first day of school jitters are starting to get out. Now it's really time to get to work. What's your focus today from Commanders training camp?
Well, Connor, it was all fun and games yesterday. Like you said, back to school vibes, but now today was about the business. Dan Quinn, he sensed an energy shift today. He thought they did a great job. The team did a great job of setting the tone yesterday. But day 2, it's all about building. It's all about how can we get better from day 1? How can we make things slightly more serious than day 1? Dan Quinn says he is really sensing that competitive energy. While the team is gelling together, he is really sensing that competitive energy. As Danny Q, he was honest this morning. He said we are going to have to make tough decisions throughout the duration of this 5-week training camp. And as we have to make these decisions, guys are going to continue setting themselves apart. And he said he is seeing that already. Just within the first 2 days, he is seeing that competitive energy exude itself in practice. But I want you guys to hear from him himself. This is what Dan Quinn had to say, head coach Dan Quinn had to say this morning in this press conference.
The energy to come and compete. The team's definitely connected. The staff has. I think both have worked hard at that. But the next 5 weeks, it'll be telling. The selection process will be ongoing for the team, and there's going to be a lot of competition. So I would imagine some of that energy is coming into it, like to really go, man. Like there is an elevated sense, like I've got to go, and so, but. Sometimes you might see a guy walking into training camp. There's not any study on it, but there is a feel and a sense, and so that's what I've seen. Just coming in, and we haven't even taken a snap yet, but seeing so many people here, my conversations with them over the summer, I'm excited.
Yeah, guys, just like Dan Quinn, I am also excited because when it comes to that competitive energy, it is highlighted by this multiple position battles that we are going to be seeing in camp for the next 5 weeks. And honestly, interesting enough, Connor, we have a lot of local guys that are involved in those position battles. Guys with 757 ties are really in the middle of or directly involved with the biggest headlines surrounding training camp so far. I mean, you look at the position battle for running back. Obviously, Katron Allen is making a name for himself in that race. Dan Quinn actually said this morning that he is already looking at Katron as a key third down back, really a valuable weapon in third down situations. So Katron, he's already carving out a role for himself on the squad in the midst of that position battle. You look at receiver, Jalen Lane, of course, he's in that position battle right now, battling out a spot or battling it out for the receiver 2 spot, looking to get a bigger role on this offense than what he had last year as just a return specialist. But he still already has a role on this team as a return specialist. And then you got to look at the D-line as well. There are a lot of dogs on the interior of the D-line, let alone when we look at the D-line as a whole, when we talk from edge guy to interiors guys, and one guy that is battling for minutes on the interior of the D-line is, of course, Tim Settle, Virginia Tech alum, actually Manassas, Virginia native, which is just 3 hours away from the studio. So it's just interesting. We have a lot of position battles, but a lot of our own guys are right there in the midst with the best of them making a name for themselves in camp, as everyone is really battling it out for a roster spot.
You love to see that. And you mentioned Jalen Lane fighting for that wide receiver 2 spot, but that he's already got a spot where he excelled last year. 23 punt returns, 314 yards, 2 punt return touchdowns for Jalen Lane last year. And, Shane, we see these position battles happening, and that the guys who relish competition are the ones who are going to go out there and get better and put themselves in a place to go ahead and win those spots. I'm wondering, one guy whose spot is without question solidified is Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin has been wide receiver 1 for the Washington Commanders for a long time. And 2 years ago, he had a real maybe the best season of his career, double-digit touchdowns during Jaden Daniels' rookie season, and we thought, well, that connection's going to carry this offense for years to come. Last year, he holds out to try to get a new contract. He does end up getting a new contract, which is wonderful for him and his family, but he missed a portion of the offseason he would typically be there for. And then again, a very start and stop season for Terry McLaurin plagued by health issues. What are you seeing from Terry? Does he appear to be back on track? Have you heard from him at all?
I know Terry is hungry. You know, he did speak to us at the press conference this morning, but you could see it in practice. Terry is hungry. You talked about the time he missed last year. He did hold out during training camp, which took a lot of time away from him being on the field with Jaden Daniels, kind of capitalizing in what was year two, kind of capitalizing off the chemistry that he built up with Jaden Daniels in their first year together. And then he also missed time during the regular season because of injuries. I believe when you look at the main three playmakers, or at least most electrifying players on that offense last year, in Jaden Daniels, of course, Terry McLaurin, and Deebo Samuel, who of course is no longer in Washington, those three guys specifically, in addition to Noah Brown, only played a handful of games together. 3, if that, maybe 4. So Terry McLaurin is coming into this offseason. He's obviously already situated deal-wise, contract-wise. So now this is his first full offseason back since that rookie year with JD. So he's back for the full offseason. He's attacking it aggressively, and he really just wants to see it translate to the regular season. But we had a chance to talk to Terry about that this morning and just his approach after missing that time, how that kind of shaped and adjusted his mindset going into this year, missing time last year in the offseason, missing time last year during the regular season. This is what Terry McLaurin had to say about his approach to attacking the day.
Man, we got a bunch of dogs, man, from top down, starting with top dog Terry. He leads the way, and I think we all kind of take after his mentality and the way he approaches things. You see he's just consistent, and that's all. A receiver, you got to be consistent with your routes, for timing, catching the ball, things like that, and that's what we're all chasing. And I think the great thing about this room is of course, we build each other up. We're trying to go out there and beat the defense, but we're also competing with each other. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to have a better day than so-and-so, but at the end of the day, it's a brotherhood. It's never any beef or anything like that. We're all trying to get better, and we want to see each other succeed. So I think we got a special group.
Now that was actually Jalen Lane, Virginia Tech alum, just talking about getting a chance to what it's been like to learn from Terry, over this process as he is competing for a spot, for a more prominent role on this offense. But Terry McLaurin earlier this morning, he talked about the approach that not only he has to practice every day going through approach in terms of approaching training camp, but also the approach that the entire offense should have when it comes to attacking the defense on a day-to-day basis. Today, defense won the day, but Terry McLaurin, that's something he hopes to change tomorrow and throughout the rest of camp.
The point of the matter is you want to come out here and win the day. I don't think we did that today, but this is day 2. Tomorrow is a completely new day, and that's why we go in there and watch film and discuss the things that we could get better at so we can come out and have a better day. But I've always been a big believer of, receivers to a certain degree kind of drive the practice, in the sense that when receivers are making plays, it brings just a certain energy to the offense, makes the quarterbacks feel a little bit more comfortable because they don't feel like they have to be perfect. And then there's times where they make up for our mistakes. So it's a collective effort. But I'm not worried about where we're at right now. It's just day 2.
Yeah, Connor, Terry, clearly you can hear the hunger in his voice. He not only wants to be better and take advantage of the full offseason he has now, and what we hope will be a full regular season for him as well, but he also wants the offense to take advantage of it. The offense, but specifically his own guys in that receiver room, as they're expected, they've talked about this as well, they're going to be making each other better in this competitive process, all fighting for that number 2 spot officially on the depth chart.
And, you mentioned going against the defense, right? It's one of the most interesting things about training camp is that it's all one team, right? But for camp, it is offense against defense for so much of camp, and they almost split into 2 different teams because they're competing every single day. They're trying to beat each other every single day. It's one of the more unique things about football, in my opinion, is that for camp, it becomes offense versus defense. Now, in Cincinnati, I know you saw Jamar Chase got into a little scrap yesterday in Cincinnati at the start of training camp, kind of squared up with a couple of their DBs. That's not unusual, right? Many training camps, you'll see some chippiness between the offense and the defense. Anything from Washington so far? Have we had our first dust up, or has everything been clean?
Not yet. You don't normally see those type of dust-ups, those type of interactions until the pads come on, because that's when things get real personal. That's when things get real physical. But what we are seeing, we're still seeing that competitive drive, but in a cohesive fashion. And that's something Jalen Lane touched on when we heard from him just moments ago, in that, looking at that receiver room, just using that as an example, they are competing against each other, fighting for the number 2 spot on the depth chart, but they're also doing it in a fashion where they are pushing each other to compete. They're motivating each other to compete. Like Jalen Lane, he said it before, like, we're all making each other better, but at the end of the day, I do want to have a better day than so-and-so. Like, I am looking at Luke McCaffrey next to me, seeing what he's doing, and I want to outdo him. I am looking at Antonio on the other side of me in drills in front of me, seeing what he's doing in drills, and I want to look smoother than he does. So it's still that competitive nature, but it's also cohesive in that you're actually really seeing how well the team is gelling together. Now that does not mean when the pads come on, we won't see a little more trash talking. There are a lot of prominent trash talkers on this team. You look at Javon Kinlaw, he was kind of talking that talk to us today after practice. You look at Amik Robertson, he's one that seems like he can get under some people's skins, get in people's heads a little bit, kind of forcing people to be more competitive and take it up a notch. So we might see a couple of dust ups when the pads come on, but today it was clean in a sense where there wasn't any shoving, any sort of punches being thrown, anything like that. But it was extremely competitive. Defense was going hard. Offense was going hard. Even though the pads aren't on, these guys are flying around and playing with the same level of intensity as if the pads are on. Even though they're just in shorts and jerseys and helmets, they're carrying themselves as if this is a real game. These are real game situations, and that's what you honestly want to see out of a team this early on. To have that type of mentality and that type of drive.
I mean, it sounds kind of like myself and Shane Fordham during one of our sports podcasts. Like, I want us all to do well, but I do want to get the better takes off. You know what I'm saying? I do want to make sure that my takes are the hottest, even though I want us all to have a good pod. All right, Shane, that is a wonderful report from you today.
Connor,
we'll see
honestly,
you.
believe it or not, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Believe it or not, I would say our conversations are a little more intense than what I saw today on the field. I'm not going to lie. I think our debates we get more heated, I think, than Amik Robertson versus Terry.
It remains to be seen.
But it's in good spirits, though, because we're making each other better. Like you said, we're making each other better.
Right. Some days it's a good thing. Some days it's not a good thing when those things get heated. Now, Shane, great job out there. We'll see you 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Shane Fordham and Patrick Gray out in Ashburn, Virginia, getting that first look at your Washington Commanders. Shane, we appreciate you very much.
Yes, sir. Look forward to it.
All right, we are as well. That's Shane Fordham. It does get heated in the sports studio sometimes, but like you said, making each other better. The Washington Commanders are doing the same thing. And keep in mind, like Shane said, those pads are going to come on later in the summer. And all of a sudden, you are playing real football against your teammates. It's such an interesting dichotomy, right? Is that how do you get better while also maintaining that chemistry? Shane Fordham will be reporting on all of it throughout the course of the summer as we head towards week 1.